Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Farmer's Crazy Space Adventure. Today, we're going to tell a legendary story from a chair to the cosmos. After visiting the ground link base, the boss praised Farmer's courage, feeling a bit insecure. You know, NASA's yearly budget is over $10 billion. If they let you, an old farmer, fly, how would NASA save face? What would the power brokers think? Listening to the boss, Farmer thought, boy, am I in trouble? He didn't want to give up, but the boss words soon saw a response, and NASA called a hearing for Farmer. They condescendingly belittled Farmer's dreams, mocked his efforts, and questioned his sanity, as if they were playing a game, as if this could cover up their incompetence and anxiety after an unfounded onslaught. Farmer finally couldn't take it anymore and stood up to share. Since childhood, he was told that dreams could come true, and to this day, he still believes it, but reality always seems to slap him in the face. However, the NASA chief wasn't giving up. He warned Farmer, don't think about launching, because the military has locked onto his little basketball. If they fire, he will vanish along with his rocket. Hearing all of this, his lawyer friend was furious, ranting that he refused to let his life be confined. I don't want to be confined. I don't want to be confined. He yelled like a bird trapped in a cage. I don't want to be confined. His lawyer friend insisted, thinking the authorities had no right to limit his freedom. Meanwhile, Farmer's wife was having her troubles too. At the supermarket checkout, she found all her bank cards frozen. Sounds like a comedy skit. At the bank, she learned her husband had huge debts. Shocking her, she felt like a fool. At dinner, she finally burst out, questioning her husband in front of the kids. Dreams are important, but what will we eat if we go bank? Can dreams feed us? Faced with his wife's disappointment, Farmer's anger skyrocketed. He stormed into the kitchen and pulled out a whole box. The pent-up frustration exploded at the table as they started to argue like two kids fighting over a toy. This journey of dreams might cause us to lose it all, including our families. This grand dream is being suffocated by harsh reality. But once rationality returned, the wife chose to forgive. Farmer apologized, and they acted like nothing had happened. I suppose this is just the daily life of most families, arguing now and then, but ultimately finding peace. Later, Farmer told his wife, my greatest love in life is you and the kids, but if I give up my dreams, I will be no role model for them. Hearing these words, her eyes glistened with tears. Despite her resentment, she didn't want to crush the kids' hopes. However, life must go on. His wife's words weighed heavily on Farmer, but his elderly father-in-law said he was a wonderful dad. Absolutely. A home should never be a prison for dreams, but a harbour from which we draw. Watching the cars on TV plastered with ads, an amazing idea popped into Farmer's head. The next day, he visited every business in town to seek sponsorship. Though admired, most bosses doubted his space plan, like watching a circus. Hardly anyone believed Farmer could take flight, but luckily, they still sponsored the family. However, as the family exchanged sponsorship tales with mixed emotions, the little girl discovered her grandpa had passed away peacefully in his sleep. In the heavy atmosphere, they bid farewell to their elder. On the funeral day, the bank reclaimed the land. To make matters worse, Farmer's launch application was also seized, and the hearing officials tried to stall. Cold reality struck Farmer like a hammer again, making him realize that if he didn't try to launch the rocket, his lifelong dream would vanish into thin air. So, in the absence of professional fuel, he had no choice but to modify the engine, using an unstable and dangerous alcohol mix. After learning her husband's launch application was denied, his wife came to comfort him. For the first time, Farmer revealed his deeply buried thoughts with a pistol pressed against his head. They did it long ago. The gun is still on the journey. It can only keep going. Upon hearing this, his wife hoped he wouldn't do anything foolish. Farmer said he had thought about it before, but now he refused to retreat. The next morning, his wife woke up startled to find a note from her husband on the table. I will not fail forever. Please trust me, everything will be okay. Just as she sensed something was off, an eerie noise suddenly erupted. Seeing trouble, his wife called their son to Chase. Despite life's ups and downs, they were an inseparable family. However, when brought to the hospital, Farmer had lost consciousness. The doctor warned of possible permanent coma due to severe trauma. Neighbors heard Farmer's story and prayed for him. Outside the hospital, a sign read, Farmers and the community wake up. Feeling the profound goodwill from those around them, his wife took the children to the hospital in turns, filling the ward with their clear and melodious voices. We firmly vowed to build another warm family together. We just need you to come home. You can't leave us again. What once was a dream of space travel had now turned into a family's hope. Now, Farmer has united his family, and his condition eased outside scrutiny. NASA leaders mocked him publicly, claiming that farmers should touch professional rockets. These jobs should be left to the professionals. What they didn't know was this bunch stopped him using professional fuel, killing a farmer's space dream. Yet, amidst the mixed expectations of good and bad, Farmer finally woke up one morning. The rocket that once held the family's hopes was now just like Farmer's shattered dreams. It scattered everywhere. The kids were less enthusiastic, and the little girl innocently wanted to play the old space simulator. But she gently stopped her, not wanting that feeling of defeat to linger in her husband's heart.